From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And it was a fun little weekend that we had here. We had a lot of preseason NFL games. We had MLB. We had Team USA this weekend as well, too, in the FIBA play. And also we had the WNBA as well. You know, we had a lot of good things going on. No boxing matches this weekend, though. I know that they claim they had some boxing matches this weekend, but they didn't have no boxing matches in America. So, we ain't going to go and lose our mind over, a fight that's not major or anything like that. But let's go ahead and jump into the Bolt report. Chargers lose 22-17 to Saints in week 2 preseason game. What did we learn? What do we learn? What did we learn from this game? You know what I mean? So pretty much that's where we're at right now. The Chargers, it wasn't really a big deal yesterday with the Chargers, all in all, because all they were really trying to do was just get through the game. They knew that, it's a lot going on. We had our bad weather going on here in Los Angeles yesterday, San Diego as well too. Just all up and down California, Nevada, Arizona got a little bit of it as well. So, really bad rainstorm this weekend and everything like that, but it was still hot. You know what I mean? It was a real tropical storm yesterday. So, they just were trying to get through the game, it seemed like yesterday. Not a lot of touchdowns scored, but the Chargers offense from last week and this week were totally different. Last week, they seemed to be able to be real consistent. This week, they had their issues, but they were able to get stops, though. They didn't give up a bunch of touchdowns, but they did give up 5 field goals yesterday. So if you turn those into touchdowns, the game could have got really, really nasty. But all in all, I thought that they did pretty good. Easton Stick showing that he can be a serviceable backup. He wouldn't be anybody that I would give the keys to for the whole season if something happens to Herbert. But he's proven that he is good enough to take on the role for a good few games or something of that nature if he's needed to. So he played the whole game on Sunday, and that was pretty incredible. It was pretty surprising that they didn't let Dugans actually play a snap or two. So it happens. And then Jake Hayner, a guy that I'm very high on, he had a decent day yesterday as well, too. He got a little hurt in that game, but he came right back, and he was able to, shake that off a bit and keep leading some pretty good drives for the Saints as well. So there was just a lot of really good things that went on with that game on both sides of the ball. I think that the Chargers were very satisfied with their performance. I know that Quentin Johnston was able to catch 3 balls for 37 yards yesterday. That was pretty good as he opens it up a little bit more than he has in the last few weeks. But I know that they're taking their time with the rookie as well, too. They know that they have a bunch of stuff for him to remember for week 1. So we know that he's going to be a guy that's going to be somebody that's going to be an asset to Herbert this year as well, too. But, from what you've been seeing, the kid's doing pretty good. So all in all, the Chargers did well. They are a team I know that really wants to get the preseason over with, get to the regular season, because every game will be a little bit more spotlighted this year because the Chargers actually do have expectations going into this season. And I know that they're just getting themselves prepared for week one against Miami, which is going to be a very important game because it is going to be an afternoon game. And you already know that they love to compare Tua and Herbert on every single stop. So, with that, let's move forward and let's jump into some hoops, and let's talk about Ant Edwards leads Team USA to comeback win over Germany as they prepare for the World Cup. Well, yesterday he scored 34 points, and it was absolutely incredible. As you can see, Austin Reeves and him having a good time yesterday, and it's really fun to see that the competition in this team, because it seems like Ant's really pushing the needle a little bit with this group. He's really challenging guys and trying to see how great guys are truly want to be. And I think that he's unlocking a leadership attribute that most players don't have in this league. And I think if he's able to build upon that here with Team USA, that's something that's going to be very good for his team moving forward next season. The Minnesota Timberwolves will probably move up a lot of people's future betting list as well too, because they just secured their best player for the next 5 to 6, 7 years. Also, they still have Karl Anthony Towns, one of the best big men in the league as well. And then they also have Rudy Gobert, probably the number one defensive center in the NBA. So they have a lot of things working in their favor. And they've added some good pieces this summer as well, too. So there's a lot of things that you're looking forward to. But let's talk about Team USA and Hope. This team has been playing some really good basketball as a group, period, point blank. And it's all these guys that just really growing up right in front of us. You have Tyrese Halliburton, a guy who got another guy who got a significant contract, and he's playing damn good basketball right now. He's playing hellified basketball. You got Jalen Brunson, a guy that a lot of people felt was overpaid for. He has even stepped up his game and became one of those guys that you can depend on to be a valuable asset in this situation. So there's just a lot of things that are working in their favor at this point. And I truly do feel that this could be something that can be absolutely special moving forward if they do everything the right way with this group. They can win this FIBA tournament, something that America hasn't done in a very long time. And they have the group, they got the guys to do it. And it's just a really, really good look, because you got guys that are getting these max contracts and everything like that, and they're playing up to the standard that you have to be to have one of these max contracts. And I just really feel like the NBA is slowly starting to get on down the road from LeBron James. LeBron James has been the talk of the league for the last 21 years, okay? And everybody keeps asking, what are we going to do after he leaves? What are we going to do after he leaves? Now, I feel that this group right here is the best group to show the rest of the basketball world and fans and everybody that watches the NBA religiously that the new wave, the new era is upon us, and you just have to accept it. And this is the group that is going to be here for the next decade. And we just have to understand that part. And there's a lot of really good guys on this Team USA team. Now, they don't have the best of the best on the roster, but they have the best type of group that can build the right type of chemistry. And you can tell by the way that this team plays together. They were able to come back down 10 yesterday against a very game Germany group, a team that has become more of a international power in a sense, like Spain. And, because it used to just be Italy and Russia and all that stuff. But now these teams have really opened up. I saw the other day the Bahamas was playing in the pool play as well, too. And they have Eric Gordon, Buddy Hield, and DeAndre Ayton. That's like, whoa. You know what I mean? That's a team with a chance. So there's just a lot of fun things that are going on right now in this FIBA tournament, which is much better to evaluate than a rookie league. And I think that a lot of us are enjoying what we're seeing right now. And it's making us very excited towards this next season coming up, because we know that we don't have to worry about LeBron carrying the league anymore. Damn near he's hindering the league at this point right now when you see how well these players are playing, and they can't get any spotlight because of that man. But no hate here, no shade here. It is what it is. You got to always deal with the person that is selling, that's putting the butts in the seats, and that's it. So with that, let's move forward and jump into our next topic in hand. And it's going to be this one, the NBA In-Season Tourney, set for November 3rd. And set for November 3rd start and will end in December in Vegas. Is this a good or bad addition to the season? I would say that this is probably one of the better additions that they've had in the season for a long time, if not one of the best additions they had during the season. Reason being is because, we always have teams that play so good in the first half of the year, and then they fall off in the second half of the year. And, there's no reward for that. There's teams that literally were like the NBA champions the first half of the season, and then damn near didn't even make the playoffs. That's been like the last 20 years or so. So I think that the NBA is doing the right thing by creating more excitement. It's only a one and done situation. So that's what makes it really fun, because we're in a situation now to where a lowly team like the Rockets could go ahead and win those 4 or 5 games that they have for this in-season tournament and wind up winning the in-season tourney but not make the playoffs. And that would be like, damn, what happened? But that would show you that it's not about records or anything of that nature. It's about how good your team is playing at that moment in time. And I think that they want to add more excitement to the NBA, and they know adding more excitement to the NBA means more game, more playing, more on the court stuff, not just, us, because I think they know they ruined a lot of things with the all-star situation on how they have players pick their teammates instead of just going east-west and making it really easy on everybody, and, making it not hard on yourself, and really being able to spotlight players for their teams and not just spotlight players and their individualism. It's almost like they don't play on teams. It's almost like they're just the selected guys to be the players for a game, and that's not fun. So when we do an in-season tournament, that's the best way to eliminate this idea about, guys not caring about things, because I feel like this in-season tournament is something that you should care about, because you got big bragging rights with this, and if they sweeten the pot and say, hey, you know what, this does solidify you being in the playoffs. Hey, you know what? A bad team has an opportunity to make the playoffs because they won the in-season tournament, because they showed that they were the best team in the NBA at that moment in time. And that's what's making this really fun, because we have a lot of times at that point of the year where a team is one of the best teams in the league, but they're truly not one of the best teams in the league, but they don't get rewarded for that. Now you can get rewarded for that. That is absolutely tremendous, in my opinion. And I think that that's something that can be so good for just not now, but for the future of the game as well too. You can do so many more things with the in-season tournament as you go along with it. You can switch the location of where they're going to play it at every year, even though Vegas, if they don't have a team at all, that would probably be the best place to go, because it's a neutral court and it's in an area where everybody always wants to pull up and do something big at. But you do have to factor in the part that you might be bringing some undesirable people around as well too. But it happens though. People want to see their NBA teams play in something of this nature, and they'll come out and watch a play. If they're going to sit out there in 115-degree weather to watch a bunch of rookies play in a summer league, they'll probably do the same thing for an in-season tournament as well too, if you have Lakers versus Celtics in the championship game. That's what makes this so fun, is because you can put together great matchups for the final situation, and it does not need to be East or West. They're going to be playing each other. They're all in different pools with each other. This is going to be absolutely incredible when you think about it. And you know what? It's a great precursor as we play into the playoffs, and it gives guys the opportunity to showcase how good they are on a stay at a point in the season where their teams might not even be getting any recognition. So there's a lot of good things that are going on with the in-season tournament. I never was somebody who was trying to push it out the way and not make it something that we should all be a part of. I think that it's good to evolve in things. We can't just keep sitting around doing the same thing all day. Just like I'm kind of a big fan of the expansion in college football. It just makes too much sense. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because everybody always wants to see all these great teams play each other. Well, now they play in the same conference, so they're gonna play each other now. Now, but we got a problem with that because now everybody, now the rivalries are gone, and but you guys said you didn't care. It's like, just let it get a chance. You watch it, and we'll be entertained. That's what it's all about. So, with that, let's go ahead and move forward to our final topic before we go to our commercial break, and that's going to be this. That's going to be Usyk prepares to defend belts versus number one contender Daniel DuBois. Is an upset on the horizon. And you know why I'm mentioning this? Because it's my division, the heavyweight division, and this right now is the kingpin of the heavyweight division in reality, because we do know that Usyk has 4 belts. Usyk has the WBO belt, the IBF belt, the WBA, and the IBO. The only ones he doesn't have is the belts that Tyson Fury has. And that one is going to be the WBC belt, and the ring belt for right now is vacant because he vacated the ring belt like that mattered. Like literally, you could have held the ring belt and got rid of the WBC belt so somebody could have the green belt. But he got rid of the novelty belt and kept the actual world championship. So this won't be a Ring Magazine ring fight, because they're going to say that for this undisputed unification that they keep putting off, because people have to understand heavyweights don't want to be undisputed champions. They just don't. The guys, every time one of them becomes an undisputed champion, you see the WBA taking a belt, the WBC taking a belt, the IBF takes a belt. So literally at the end of the day, it's just get a heavyweight championship nowadays. But Joshua was able to obtain these belts, and then he couldn't get the final ring because Andy Ruiz, and because Deontay Wilder did not sign on for that June fight that he needed to sign on for. So you know what? At the end of the day, I blame both of those guys while we're in the position that we're at today, and why the heavyweight division is sitting over here looking at the welterweight, the lightweight, and come on, even bridge divisions like junior super lightweight and super welterweight, making you look like making you look like the cruiserweight division at this point, and they got to get it together. But let's talk the fight. Usyk is probably the most skilled heavyweight in the world because he's a boxing aficionado, as I like to say. And he's very good at what he does. He's a gold medalist as well, too. He's a smart boxer. That's the biggest thing about Usyk. He's smart. He got the right IQ to be a world champion and be a dominant champion as well, too. But we can all say that, it could have went either way with those Joshua fights, because he didn't technically really beat down Anthony Joshua. He just outskilled Anthony Joshua. And I think that if he would have been able to lose both of those fights, they would have said that he had a game effort, but it's okay because he didn't do enough to beat Anthony Joshua. But with the way those fights went, there was no way that really you could say Usyk didn't win the fights. Maybe the second fight could have possibly went Anthony Joshua's way, but I still think at the end of the day, it's just a matchup matchups make fights, and Usyk isn't a good matchup for Anthony Joshua at the end of the day. He's not a good matchup for anybody who's trying to knock you out because he's a mover. He's going to move around, and he's real smart. Like I said before, he's gonna hit, not get hit. And so pretty much with Dubois is a power puncher, and Dubois is a guy that we've already seen be very flawed in fights. But he had this big hype train going for him because he had these big viral knockouts a few years ago. But after he fought Joe Joyce, a lot of people saw that he was just human. And then his last fight that he had some issues in that fight. He got knocked down, he got back up, he said he had a knee issue. Then they kind of prematurely stopped the fight once he started hurting the other guy. So, there was a lot of questions about his last fight. So this fight this weekend is a great time for Daniel Dubois to prove that he's a legit heavyweight by shocking the world and beating Usyk. Because if Dubois beats Usyk, then I know that we won't have to wait so long for fights because now he has a title. But I also feel that Daniel Dubois was given way too many chances in this situation as well, too. He tore his knee. Then we had to wait almost a whole year for him to come out and be able to have a fight. So, and he was always the mandatory for Usyk. But the only reason why Usyk is fighting him is because the Fury fight fell through and Fury wound up fighting Nagano. So, I think that he's doing the right thing by fighting his mandatory. But at the same time, too, we know that there's better heavyweights out there as well that have been waiting for the opportunity. But we know that most likely it looks like Usyk probably does have his next 2 or 3 fights set up after this as well, too, to where they know exactly where they're going to go with this. So there's a lot of good things that are going on in the heavyweight division behind the doors, but for everybody in the public, it still looks like an absolute mess. So hopefully we can figure some things out on Saturday, but most likely Usyk probably wins this fight by a close decision, to be honest with you. But I have my answers for you guys come Friday about this fight, okay? Once we get the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but you guys gotta remember with heavyweights, weigh-ins don't matter because as long as you weigh in over 200 pounds, you're fine. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But all in all, let's go ahead and take our first break. And when I get back, we're going to jump into some pretty good topics here with the baseball. So we got the Dodgers to talk about, and we got the MLB Pennant Race to talk about, and we got the MLB Monday Night to talk about. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Cappers.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. So let's go ahead and jump into this bad boy. And as usual, we get the favorite winning the first race after I bet all, you know what I mean? But it was a downright, tough to beat favorite. So it is what it is at the end of the day. So let's go ahead, jump into the Blue Crew Daily. And the Dodgers win another series despite winning streak being ended at 11. What to expect this week? The Dodgers had to play a doubleheader on Saturday. That was a little bit more than they anticipated, but the Dodgers were able to win both games Saturday as well too, with the same exact score, 1-3. The Dodgers won the game 3-1, both games. The Dodgers were it seemed like, once again, they were just trying to rush through the game. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't really matter. You get a run, you get a run. Hey, you get a run, you get a run. We're not going to delay this thing at all. We're going to just get through the game. So the games were literally damn near the same exact game. But the first game was a game that the Dodgers had a comeback in the 8th inning. They were able to score 3 runs in the 8th to win the game. Now, the second game, the Dodgers went ahead and they this time around, they gave up the first run of the game again, and then they had runs in the 2nd, 3rd, and 7th. And Mookie Betts actually hit 2 home runs yesterday as well, too, which was pretty big because Mookie Betts is on his way to possibly winning the MVP this year. He's now batting .298 for the season. It's another game where he had a nice little. It was his 3rd home run of the series as well, too, because he hit his home run on Friday night. And so Mookie's just been really good. Mookie has been on a tear as of late, too. He's since August 11th, he hasn't had a game where he hasn't had a hit, So Mookie is playing phenomenal baseball at this moment, and it's just something incredible to look at because, Mookie is playing up to all the hype that he was supposed to get when he got here. Mookie got paid a lot of money by the Dodgers, and it's showing now that he was well worth every single penny that they paid for him. And he's just an incredible player. I'm just going to be honest with you. I just think that Mookie is so incredible at what he does and what he can do. And I just truly do feel that this team is really in place to win a World Series this year. And Mookie has been so good, man. It's like, why wouldn't you say, okay, Mookie, you are the MVP? Mookie's played second base. Mookie's played shortstop. He's played right field. He's played center field. I think he even played left field one day. Mookie has been a very valuable asset to the Dodgers. And you know what? He might come out for a game or two, but his impact is always felt. They can't go that long without Mookie. And Mookie has made life that much better for Freddie Freeman, while Freddie Freeman has made life that much better for Mookie. And so these guys have really worked it out, and they became one of the better duos in all of Dodgers history, in my opinion, when it comes to hitting. And it's just fun to watch. And you look at this team and you say to yourself that they definitely deserve to win a World Series this year, but they got to earn it first. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into our Monday night because the Dodgers are off today. And from what I can see here for the week, the Dodgers have themselves a pretty cool week. They're on the road. They got 6 here on the road. They got 3 coming up in Cleveland. Then they got 3 more in Boston. And then they fly back to the Ravine for a 4-game home series with Arizona, which would have been big if Arizona was still, playing really good baseball. And then the series that pretty much is a precursor to a possible NLCS, they play Atlanta September 1st through the 3rd as to start the month off. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then they take another 6-game road trip after that. So it's going to be a lot of fun with the Dodgers as they enter September. And it's looking pretty good. But let's go move forward and let's talk about the MLB Pennant Race right now. The MLB Pennant Race is looking pretty good right now. We have ourselves a very fun race going on in some divisions right now. And then we just got some divisions that have absolutely where the doors have just been absolutely blown off. Baltimore still leads by 3 games over Tampa Bay, 7, but Tampa Bay's only 2 wins shy in the win column, but they're 4 losses back in the loss column. So they're still have a plus 161 differential, but at the same time, too, though, they've struggled, though, all summer, really. But they've won their last 6 out of 10. Now, Minnesota has increased their lead from 3.5 over the weekend to now 6 games. And they are kind of running away with the division now. Before, it seemed like it was life or death with the Guardians for the Twins, but it hasn't really been a problem as of late. They've absolutely been cruising. Texas is holding well. They're up still 2.5 games over Houston, but they're only Seattle's right here too. They are trailing by 3 games, while the Angels have now fallen to 11.5 games. So the Angels, we can probably say they're out of this thing. Atlanta is literally running away with the East. They're up 13.5 games. It's going to take a miracle to catch them. That now Miami's down 17 games to them. So yeah, that they pretty much have wrapped up the East. Pretty much, all they're doing is just going through the last 6 weeks of the season. Milwaukee finds themselves up 3 games over Chicago, not Cincinnati, Chicago. But Chicago's only 4 games back. The Cubs are 3 games back. The Milwaukee, this is the first time they've been able to breathe easy on a Monday in a while, because usually they're only up a half a game or a game. But they've been good. They've won their last 7 out of 10. The Dodgers, you guys already know the deal with the Dodgers. The Dodgers are 16-2 this month. So they are playing absolutely tremendous baseball, the best baseball in all of baseball, and find themselves 11.5 games up in their division and 13 games up on Arizona, a team, and I keep saying it, a team at one point that was up 5.5 games while the Dodgers were in 3rd place. So that goes to show you what type of season that the Dodgers have had. So that's looking pretty good. Now, when you look at the playoff chase, Baltimore is number 1 in the AL. Texas is number 2, but Tampa Bay has the 2nd best record in the AL. Houston has the 4th best record in the AL, and Seattle has moved themselves into the playoff picture because they're a half game better than Toronto at this point. But they still are trying to hold off both the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. The Angels look like they're out of it. They're 8.5 games back. The Yankees are probably out of it. They're 9 games back of the final playoff spot. So there's just a lot of things that you say to yourself that, we're getting closer to who's going to get in and who's going to be out. But this is absolutely a crazy stat now, because you know how high I was on the AL East all year, how everybody in the AL East had a winning record. Now the Yankees have messed up that predigium, and now they only have 2 teams in the playoff hunt. And the funny thing about it was they had 4 at one point. So hopefully they still get their 3 in, but it looks like they might miss that 3rd team. So with that, let's move forward and talk about the first game I have for you tonight. That's going to be the Cubs and the Tigers. The Cubs come into this game 64-59. The Cubs are 57-67. And you have a game that's going to be between 2 pitchers that are very whatever. Assad to 2-2 this year, 3.11 ERA, and it looks like he's a guy that he's made 9 appearances this year. He's been decent. He hasn't been blown up in any of these games. He just went over a certain limit of innings his last 2 games, and in his best pitch game of the year, he went 7 innings, gave up 1 run, struck out 2. Last game, gave up 3 runs, struck out 4, went 6 innings, walked 2. So Assad is a guy that is a very steady pitcher. He's not somebody who's going to give up a lot of hits and runs, but he's somebody that they can depend on, but it doesn't mean that he can't get hit. And you got Fado. Fado has appeared in 9 games this year, and he is kind of a spot starter as well too, but he pitched really good last time out against Minnesota. He wound up striking out 6, and giving up 1 hit. And that's pretty good coming into tonight's game. So the way that I see this one shaking out, and the reason why I highlighted this game, because the Cubs are trying to make the playoffs. The Tigers are trying to get themselves in a position to be, say, a team that puts themselves, closer to a 500 above 500 record. I know this team is really trying to finish up 81-81 as a confidence boost moving into next year. But tonight, the way that I see this one setting up is I really do like the Tigers to keep the game pretty close. So if they don't win tonight, they can keep it within a run, and we still get the cash tickets. So I like them with the plus 1.5 run line. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next game. It's going to be this one. It's going to be the Giants and the Phillies. The Giants and the Phillies. This one right here is a matchup between 2 second-place teams, and coincidence, they're 2 second-place teams in the divisions where the top 2 teams are in, and seem to be the 2 teams that are hell-bent on playing each other in the NLCS. But if you look at your other options, you got the Giants and the Phillies in the NLCS as well, too, as a great series. So, this could be a possible preview of another situation in the National League. But you look at the Giants have been a team that has kind of took a few steps back. They were really good when they made their run to get to second place. But as of late, they just haven't been the team that you expect them to be. You know what I mean? So pretty much with that, I think that when it all comes down to it, you have a team in the Giants that are looking to, put themselves in position to be one of the better wild card teams, but they're trying to avoid the Dodgers, I think, in the first round as well, too. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big avoidance for them, I think. And it looks like when you play somebody, if they get to that 4th spot from what it's looking like, it could be something that's going to be very, good for them. But these two possibly do play each other in the divisional round as well, too, because it looks like that, they're the 4 and 5 right now. So you have a Phillies team that probably does have the advantage because they know what time it is at this time of the year. It's time to start playing, great baseball, and that's exactly what they're doing. Now, I'm looking at the way that they're doing it tonight. The Giants are going with their opener, so that means that it's all relievers, and they're doing this against Aaron Nola tonight. But Aaron Nola is nothing to be scared of because Aaron Nola has not been good in his last few games. He's given up 17 runs through his last 4 games. He's given up 27 hits on that as well, too. But he's been able to strike out a lot of guys as well, too. He's been able to strike out 27 guys in the process. So he's striking out a lot of guys, but he's giving up a lot of runs and hits at the same time, too. So the way I see this one going tonight is like this. I feel like the Phillies will have his back, though. They'll have his back tonight. That's how I'm feeling. That they'll have his back, and since they'll have his back, that means that they should win this game by a run or two. But I'm not taking them on a run line tonight. I'm taking them straight up as the winner. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Phillies with the minus 145. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, we have ourselves our final game we're going to talk about, the Red Sox and the Astros. You got the Astros team still chasing the Rangers right now for the West. They know that it comes down to the last 6 weeks as well, too. I don't think they have any more games against the Rangers, but they just got to keep staying consistent, and that's how they'll be able to win this division. Now, the Red Sox, on the other hand, the Red Sox are chasing the playoffs right now. They're trying to catch the Blue Jays first. That's who they got to catch first is the Blue Jays. And then after that, they got to sustain. And from what it's looking like, they're very far behind of the Rays. But when it comes to everybody else, they're right there in the mix. You know what I mean? But Red Sox, it's a make or break situation for them right now. But Houston can't be sitting over here slacking either because they have Seattle on their backs right now. Seattle played them so well this weekend. Seattle actually swept Houston this weekend and have won 6 in a row. So they can't just be giving up a series. So there's a lot that's going into this series, and this might be one of the more important series of the week as well, too. So there's just a lot to put together right now. And I'm telling you, dude, Boston and Toronto, they're both on a mission right now, while Houston, Seattle's on a mission. So this Final Four right here is going to be really good here in the coming 6 weeks. And you really don't know which one of these teams are going to take these last 2 spots. We can probably say that if the Rays can just stay a little consistent, they'll probably lock down the number 1 wild card spot or sneak back into winning the AL East, because once again, Baltimore has not hit the wall yet, and that is going to happen. So we'll see how it goes. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take another quick commercial break, and when I get back, we're going to go ahead and talk those tickets. So stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I'll be right back at you.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we're back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. And let's go ahead and get into my favorite subject, your favorite subject, and that's talking tickets. And pretty much let's go ahead and jump into my first group, and that's going to be in the NFL tonight. We got some Monday Night Football, and we ready for a party. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we end the Ravens streak tonight, 24 straight preseason wins. I think that streak gets ended tonight. I'm taking the Commanders with the plus 105. They're at home. They should be a little fired up from what happened at practice the other day as well, too. Big time fighting and everything like that. So today, they go ahead and they get their revenge and they show who runs the DMV. So let's get it, Commanders. All right, and we got the under 19.5 first half. I feel like we're going to have ourselves a defensive battle, a lot of sloppy football play as well, too. A lot of physical play and a lot of jaw-jacking. So that usually winds up with halves going under. And then we have the Ravens going under 20.5 team total tonight. I feel like the Ravens are going to have a lackadaisical night tonight, and they'll wind up falling under the 20.5 point total that it's going to take to actually win this game tonight. So, well, not win this game, but, to score in this game tonight, I should say. All right, so let's move forward. We're talking MLB, and we can't talk MLB without doing series bets first. Now, it's Monday. We got 10 games in place, and these are the 6 matchups I feel that are very important towards the week moving forward. We got the Tigers and the Cubs. This is very important for 2 teams that are – the Tigers are trying to build, momentum for next year. The Cubs are trying to make the playoffs. So you have 2 teams that have a goal this week. So I like the Tigers to pull off a little mini upset here. I like them with the plus 110. They seem to be being able to take care of their business in these type of situations right here. Then we have the Phillies minus 165. That should be another good one tonight with the Giants. I feel like this should be a really, really good game, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Then we have the Astros tonight. I mean, the Cards, actually. The Cards are going to be plus 100 tonight. The Cards are actually going to be a team that I feel, it's a real toss-up series. Let's keep it real. It's not a series that you say to yourself, oh, the Cards are a cinch, because the Cards are the last place team in the Central this year, okay? But they're going against an old rival in Pittsburgh, and I feel like, Pittsburgh is always a hit-or-miss team, and I feel like the Cardinals are actually playing their best baseball of the season right now because they got a lot of the junk out of the locker room. You know what I mean? They got a lot of guys who are just playing for themselves out of there. So, it's all good. So you got the plus 100 with the Cardinals. You got the Astros in a very tough series this week. This is a make or break situation for both these teams this week. But I feel like the Astros are going to do enough to win the split, because I think what happens is both teams win the first two games, and then we get the grudge match. And what happens in the grudge match is the Astros get the win. So that's why I like them with the minus 155. And then we got the A's in a very even series with the Royals this week. The worst teams in baseball going at it. So I feel like the A's are the home team, so the A's get the advantage. And then we have the Marlins, who are on the road, and they are chasing their wild card spot as well too. And I think San Diego's given up on the season, to be honest with you. So I think the Marlins know that this is a must-win series. So they take 2 out of 3 in their series with the plus 150. So they'll be our big dog this week when it comes to the series. But the one that I feel like presents the best value for us is possibly going to be the Astros series. So let's move forward and talk about tonight's pick 6. That's going to be 66-1 as well too. We got the Tigers plus 1.5 minus 150. We got the Phillies minus 145 tonight, Phillies money line. We also have the over 10 with the Cardinals and the Pirates. Then we have the under 9 with the Red Sox and the Astros. And then our dog of the day, the White Sox money line plus 155. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how that shakes out. And then we finish up with the A's minus 1.5 plus 160. I know that getting the A's on a minus 1.5, that's really gambling right there. But that's what we're here for, right? That's exactly what we're here for. So with that, I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in to today's show. You guys are the absolute best. As I always say, there is no me without you. And for all my bettors out there, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And I'm your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. And I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.